What's up, YouTube? Rambo here. Today is the day we've all been waiting for. The NFL 2020 season is about to get underway tonight. In just a few hours, the Texans will be taking on the defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And guys, I'm super excited today to show you which cards I'm investing in this year. What's up, guys? If you're just finding my channel, if you're new here, this channel revolves around sports cards, Pokemon cards, collectibles of any kind, basically kind of like a man cave. So if you are into any of that, if you think this video provides you any value, please hit that subscribe and like button. It will mean a lot to me. If you ever have any suggestions. But today, we're going to be looking at which cards I am investing in for this season. Now, before we get started, there is a rookie that I am going to be having my eye on this year, and he's actually playing in the game tonight. It is Clyde Edwards. He's the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. His rookie cards are not technically out yet, so I can't really suggest you going out to buy them, but just be on the lookout when the cards are released. As you can see here, these are the props for tonight's game. You can see that he is actually favored over every player in the game to score a touchdown. What this means is at minus 160 odds, you would have to lay $160 to win 100. Those odds you can actually find out by using a tool I really like. I'm going to show you this tool here live so you can use it as the season progresses to help you maybe find good opportunities to buy and sell cards throughout the season. So what you do is you go here to Action Network, go to Betting Calculators, and you can see here the betting odds calculator. So you would put in the American odds, which are minus 160, and you see that he has around a 61.54% chance to score a touchdown tonight. So it's very likely he will score a touchdown. Not a guarantee, but a 60% chance. So that being said, he's a guy to have your eye on as the cards come out. But before I get started showing you which cards I'm going to be investing in this season, do your own research. There's a lot of people here on YouTube that are selling people picks on which cards to buy, and I have a problem with 90% of the stuff that's going on with it. I was just watching a video last night from a guy who is very much into sports cards, but he is now charging people, his viewers, money for his picks, which I technically don't have that much of a problem with. The guy's very knowledgeable, but he's now getting into Pokemon, and I would not even feel comfortable selling picks for anything, but I know a good amount about Pokemon and Pokemon cards. I've done a lot of research, and he doesn't even know who Pikachu is. Doesn't understand Pikachu, doesn't understand that Squirtle evolves into Wartortle and then evolves into Blastoise. But the point I'm making is there are a lot of people who are doing this, who are selling you picks just for the money. You have to think about the market manipulation. You have to think about if there's so much money in it, why are they just not buying all the cards? Why are they telling you about them? There's a lot to do with it. You may be just getting into sports cards. You may already be well into sports cards and know way more than I do, and you're just trying to see the strategy I'm taking for this season. But I think there's a lot of value that you can get from this video and use it in your own way. Do not just invest in these cards because I am. This is what I'm investing in. I'm not telling you to invest in these. I'm not guaranteeing you that all these cards are going up. Are all these cards going to make you all kinds of money? No, they're not. Some of these guys might get hurt mid-season. But the point we're getting at is be careful with people selling you card picks. Do not just blindly follow the guys I'm telling you. Do your research. If you agree, go right ahead. Like I've always said, I said it in a previous video, you should enjoy what you are investing and collecting. I know investments are mainly to make money, but I can tell you one thing. If you invest in a guy that you don't like and he gets hurt and you lose money on him, that's not fun. If you invest in a guy you really like and he unfortunately gets hurt, the pain ain't as bad, I can promise you. I don't want to sit here all day and talk about this, but I almost cannot talk about it enough. I just want to keep on preaching it to you guys. There are a lot of people selling picks, and there's not a lot of people that know a lot about sports cards. So for the last time, be careful. And if you are selling picks and you know you don't know jack shit about what you're talking about, shame on you. All right, without further ado, let's get on to the picks. Let's get what we're here for. I felt like I was preaching a sermon to you guys, but all right. Before we get started, there's two tools that I use to look up card prices, how they move. That is Market Movers and Card Ladder. We're going to be using both today because when I looked up a few of these cards the other day, they were not on both sites. So we're going to go through this as quickly as possible. I want you guys to understand the process, but this video would be 40 hours long if we sat here and went through every single detail of my process of how I bought this card, and this card. So first thing is Card Ladder and Market Movers. They're both great. If you're on a budget, I recommend Card Ladder if you're really serious about this. I'm not going to stay about this all day. Let's keep moving on. Okay, the first thing that I like to look at in any sport before the season starts are the Vegas win totals. There's an over and an under. And if you don't know how it works, right here you see the Cardinals. Right here, Arizona Cardinals. Total wins over 7.5. The odds we just talked about, minus 135. And under is an underdog, plus 105. So if you want to figure out these odds, I showed you how to do it. We're not going to do it right now. We're going to keep it as quickly as possible. But basically, they're favored to get over 7.5 wins, which rightfully so. With their new addition of Hopkins, you have Kyler Murray, who's very popular in the public. And this is how I kind of make an outline of what players I think are good investments at the beginning of seasons. There are times throughout the season that are going to be great times to sell. That is why I suggest you sign up for an account on like a site like Action Network. Also, and I believe it is free to have access to just the odds. And also this site, Fantasy Labs /NFL/Vegas, you can just type that in. It's completely free. You can see the odds on all the games, the team totals, how they've changed throughout the week. It's very informative. I use it, and I think it's something that if you're not doing, you should start doing. That way, if you have a card, an example would be, let's say we're in week 12, and let's say Kansas City's playing Houston. This is all hypothetical. And let's say Watson has been on a tear, but tonight he's a 9-point underdog. As you can see here, the Chiefs are favored by 9.5. Minus means favored. Then if his cards have went up and you've already made double or triple your money, now might be a good time to sell. These are just examples to think about throughout the season. When you're in good spots to sell, you've made a good amount of money. These weren't long-term holds. Players like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, those type of players are not these short-term flips. You're not buying a Tom Brady to flip week 4. You're buying a Tom Brady because he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So I just want to put that out there, and we'll go on to my strategy for this season. The Cardinals, and I could talk about all these teams for hours, but we're going to keep it short. Cardinals, Kyler Murray, their new additions this season. I think 7.5 is low. Therefore, I know a lot of people will be betting the over. If I think it's low, I know a lot of other people think it's low. So this is a fishy line to me. I think they could have another disappointing season. So therefore, could I suggest to you guys to buy Kyler Murray? No, I can't. Do I think it's a bad buy? No, I don't think it's a bad buy either, but I definitely am not going to have him as one of my favorite cards for this season. Next, we're on to the Falcons. Same kind of situation here. There's not a whole lot that you can really attack on this team. You do have the new addition of Gurley on the team, and you have Matt Ryan, who's a great quarterback. But this is more of a wait and see type of play for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying a Gurley or a Matt Ryan in this spot, but I personally will not be doing it. Now we're on to the Ravens, and this one's very interesting because we have a team that had an incredible year last year, and Lamar Jackson played out of his mind. Now you see a team that's actually favored under their projected total of 11.5. So again, this is another spot where I can't knock anybody for buying a Lamar Jackson card. They're around $3,000 last time, or $2,700. So I think a little too expensive to be recommending to you guys for a pretty obvious play. I don't think you're watching this video for me to tell you to go buy a Lamar Jackson or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes rookie card. Now we're on to the Buffalo Bills, and now we're kind of getting into the interesting stuff where you have a Josh Allen card that, if you can see here, we'll go to card ladder. I'll show you guys how this works. Josh Allen in a PSA 10, as you can see, they also have different, there's optic, but his main rookie card right here is the Josh Allen 10, sells for $477. It has a population of 578, and you can see the last month it hasn't really moved a whole lot, which is a good thing. It's not like this card was $200 and now it's $400. It's been staying pretty steady. And for a team total of 9, which is the second highest we've seen and it's favored over from a Bills team that hasn't been the best in the recent years, if you look on, this is Fantasy Labs, you can see Josh Allen has had some big games over the course of last year. So I actually think he is a good buy this year, and he will be making my list as somebody I am buying this season. As we move on here, the Carolina Panthers, they have a very low team total of 5.5. It is favored over. I am from North Carolina, so I've always had a soft spot for the Carolina Panthers, but I cannot get behind really anybody on this team other than McCaffrey right now. I think his cards are a great buy, but he will not be making the list. I think his type of cards are one you might could hold off on, but he's a great player, has a bright future, but I don't think the Panthers have a bright future this season. I hope I'm wrong, but we will see. Next, we have the Bears. This, as you can see, is the biggest under favorite so far out of the teams we've looked at, so I will not be attacking anyone on the Bears this year. I know a lot of people are preaching Trubisky, and I think they couldn't be more wrong. But if you're a Bears fan, you believe in Trubisky, go on with your bad self. Next, we have the Bengals with Joe Burrow coming in. We have a lot of hype behind this team. And again, just like the previous, this is a low number for, in my opinion, for a team that has the amount of hype behind that the Bengals do. Now, are people predicting the Bengals to win a Super Bowl this year? No, obviously not. But I think if this number was more like a 7.5 or a 6.5, I'd be more inclined to be interested in his rookie cards. His cards are already going to be overpriced because how good of a college career he had, and I just can't recommend that to you guys. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns. This is one of the most interesting spots I have ever seen. We have Baker Mayfield. The hype was real on him. Everybody thought he was going to turn the Browns around, and that could not have been further from the truth. Here, this is Pro Football Reference. I like using it for a lot of stats. You can find out just about anything you want on this site, player-related, team-related. It's a very good site. There's a lot of good sites out there, but this is a good one. As you can see right here, Cleveland Browns, they won 6 games last year. This year, they're favored to win 9. And Baker Mayfield was as hype as he is. If he comes out and they come out to a good start, his cards are going to shoot through the moon because the hype, people are going to remember the hype. They are going to want to get back on that hype train. Baker Mayfield's cards are actually going less than Josh Allen's, which is crazy. None of his cards have moved much in the last month, which is interesting leading up to the season. No one's really believing in them. So I think that he is a fantastic buy going into this season. There might be a spot mid-season that would be a great flip. Let's say you buy 10 of his cards. They have a really good first half of the season. You could sell half of them for double or triple your money, or maybe even more, midway through the season. So Baker Mayfield, go Browns. We have another really good one next with the Dallas Cowboys. Another one of my favorite buys going into this season. Dak Prescott. We're going to use our market movers tool over here for the first time. I'm going to show you guys how it works. We have Dak Prescott, who is the quarterback of America's team. I've never really been a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, but this year I think his cards are a great buy. They did not have a good season last season. Everybody, they were full of disappointment. They have one of the biggest favorites of over 9.5. They should be winning 10-plus games this year, and they only won 8 last year. So it's looking like an uptick for Dak Prescott and America's Cowboys. So I think this is a great buying opportunity. Anytime you can get behind a public team that the public loves and the players are looking like they're going to have a good year, I'm all for that. So right now his cards are selling for a little bit over $1,200. I know that's not cheap, but when you put it in perspective that Lamar Jackson's around $3K, Mahomes are $8,000 last time I looked. If the Cowboys come out and have an amazing season, you're looking at a $4,000 or $5,000 Dak Prescott. So he's a great quarterback. America's team, go Cowboys. Now we have the Broncos. Same kind of thing as a lot of these teams. There's not really a lot I want to buy. I know Drew Lock's, a lot of people like him. There's not a lot I can really recommend with the Broncos. So we're just going to move on. Next, we have the Detroit Lions, who won 3 games last year. Their over is kind of interesting because they have it at 6.5. It's favored over a good amount. So if you're trying to take a gamble, I think a Stafford might be a good play. But we're not going to sit here and kind of gamble a lot on this channel. I do think he is an interesting play. I might buy a couple of his cards, but nothing more than that. If you're a Lions fan, hey, it might be a good year for you. So don't count your boys out yet, but I think this could be a decent year for the Lions. I don't think it's anything you need to over-exaggerate. Then we have the Packers. Long story short, I could talk about this for a while. They had a really good year last year, favored under 9. I think they're going to have a huge letdown year, just my opinion. So therefore, I'm obviously not investing. Aaron Rodgers, great quarterback, long-term hold. If you're buying his cards, I'm just not buying them right now. Houston Texans, interesting, 7.5. Kind of the same scenario. Watson can't tell you not to buy his cards. I'm just not buying them. Colts, this is an interesting one. We have Rivers. This is another huge favorite, over 8.5. Phillip Rivers, a little bit older, and kind of the same situation we're looking at with Stafford, except I like it a little bit better. Phillip Rivers is a strong quarterback, but he doesn't quite make the final list. But I do think if you have some extra money laying around and you're a Colts fan, I'll probably buy 1 or 2 of his cards. There's not a whole lot of upside for him unless they just have an incredible season. Therefore, he's kind of right on the outside of my list. Jaguars, not much to be said here. Big under 5. That's the lowest one we've seen. The Chiefs, not much to say here. You're talking about Patrick Mahomes. Right now, the best quarterback in football. And the issue is his cards are so expensive, I cannot recommend them. But, again, you're not buying his cards to flip halfway through the season. You're buying them as a long-term hold. So, if you are buying Patrick Mahomes, you go right ahead. The Raiders, this is an interesting one because you have Las Vegas in the name, and that's huge for entertainment. That's huge for publicity. That's huge for everything, really. And if they get on a heater at some point in this season, Derek Carr and Jacobs' cards are going to shoot up. Therefore, I think they are both fantastic buys, but they are also, you could say, somewhat of a gamble. They're a lot lower gamble because Derek Carr, his Chops Chrome football let it load, is going for $50-$60. Now, Derek Carr, I don't have a lot of faith in this guy. I don't think he has a crazy future or anything, but I do think that anybody who's leading a Las Vegas team could have a decent potential at some point this season for a good selling opportunity. Again, this, at least at first, is not a long-term hold by any means. It is mainly a 1 to 2 year max play for me. I think that there will be an opportunity at some point in the season to sell his cards. Jacobs is a little bit of a safer or more long-termish hold, but Carr, been in the league a while, has never really been anybody's favorite quarterback, and I think that just be careful is all. I think if you're looking for a lower entry point, maybe you don't have the funds to invest in a $300, $400, $1,200 card, and you want to get your feet wet, I think this could be a good opportunity for you. Just realize it's clearly not as safe as a Drew Brees or a Dak Prescott. Moving on, we have the LA Chargers, who again is favored over 7.5. This is interesting. We have Eckler on their team, who's a very good running back, and we have a new quarterback with Tyrod Taylor. So it's tough for me with this team because I think they're going to have a decent year this year, but I'm not really getting behind any of them, at least right now, buying. But I do think it's one you might want to keep your eye out. And like with any of these, if you're a fan of these guys that I've been talking about, some of these teams that I'm hyping up, and you like a certain guy from that team, go out and get you a card. Man, there's nothing better than enjoying the season, having a card of somebody you enjoy, and you can make some money off of it. Next, we have the Rams, another one that's favored under, and I can't get behind much on this team. There's so many offensive threats, and there's just I can't target one person, and with the over-under so low, I'll pass. Dolphins. This is actually interesting, but I can't really invest in anything right now, Dolphins. So it's interesting they're favored like this, but I'm going to move on. Vikings, I think they're going to have a decent year this year. Cook's cards could be a great buy. I'm not really sure about Kirk Cousins. Again, not for me, but moving on. Next, we have the New England Patriots, and this one is interesting. Tom Brady's out. Cam is in. He has been announced as the Week 1 starting quarterback. Their over-under is 9. I'm a fan of Cam. I think he should have a good season this season. I have already bought a good amount of his cards. But with the quarterback situation the way it is, they have multiple options. I'm a little bit hesitant to put him as a high confidence play like the Dak and the Baker play is so far. So I think that if you're investing in him, just know that the quarterback situation is not 100% set in stone that he will be playing all 16 games this year. His prices are around $800 for a Topps Chrome. You can get his regular Topps card for $325. Either of these cards are great buys if you're interested. Obviously, one is about a little over double the other. The Chrome is the one I recommend, but if you're a little bit on a budget and you want to invest in Cam Newton, just a regular Topps card is still a great investment. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees has cemented himself as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, so I cannot recommend his card enough. His card, surprisingly, is only $1,200. $1,200 for a Hall of Fame quarterback. This is the same price as a Dak Prescott. And I don't know about you guys, but Drew Brees, I mean, could it be even more obvious? I just think this is a great buying opportunity. Saints have one of the highest team totals this year, and I think Drew Brees is an easy play if you have the money. Giants, I'm not even going to talk about them. Jets, not even going to talk about them. The Eagles, I think if you think and you believe in the Eagles, I think Wentz could be a very good buy. Steelers, I think if you're a Big Ben fan, he could be a decent buy. They look like they're going to have a better season this year with favored over 9. O'Connor could be a good play. That kid's, I like him a lot. The 49ers, this is a high team total. And I know it's favored under, but there was a lot of disappointment with their Super Bowl performance. And I think they could definitely have a good year next year with this high of a team total. So I think Garoppolo is still a good buy at his price point. We're going to look here at the Jimmy G cards. And his cards go for around $100. So this is another guy that I don't think is a long-term hold, but I do think that there will be some opportunities throughout the season. You could flip this card for some good money. That's another good entry point for a lot of people that have, just want to get their feet wet in cards. Next, we have the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, is there any more needs to be said? Another guy who cemented himself, whose card is actually very low price. His Topps Chrome, $1,100. And looks like they're going to have another, decent to really good season. I like the guy. He's very popular in the public, and not only could he be a good opportunity to sell this season, he is a very good long-term hold. He's a safe play, and at $1,100, just like Drew Brees, I can't really recommend him enough. If I had to pick one over the other, I would definitely pick Brees, but Russell Wilson is definitely a good play. The Buccaneers, this one I want to talk about for a second because I love Tom Brady. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks, and a lot of people are high on this team with all their new stars they have on the team. And I'm just not. I think that they are going to have a letdown season. I actually think the Patriots could outperform them. So I can't recommend buying Tom Brady's cards right now. I think in the long term, his cards are great to buy, but you might can get them at a better deal after a maybe disappointing season. So take that what it's worth. If you think the Buccaneers are going to have a great season, go on with your bad self. Now we have the Titans. I've been a believer in the Titans the last couple of years, and they haven't let me down. This season, I don't know. I'm just kind of I just want to play it off to the side and see how it goes before I make any sort of play with any cards. Then finally we have Washington football team, and there's not a whole lot to like there. So I'm going to close out of that, and I want to show you one more thing. If you go here to the same site, Bovada, you go down to season props. We're not going to go through all this now, but you can type in and you can see their projected touchdowns and yards throughout the season. So I recommend before if you're on the fence about certain things, look at their receiving yards, their touchdowns compared to what you think, and if you think it's looking like it could be a good year for them. Just wanted to show you guys that. And if you have any questions about that, please comment below. I'll be glad to help. If you're enjoying this video, please smash the like button. So now on the screen, I have laid out real nice so you can visually see this. All the cards that I think are decent buys this season. I'm going to go through and take out some of these names of the ones I'm personally not investing in. But I want you to see the ones that I think are decent buys. So if you're leaning one way, maybe this will be your final thing to buy one. If that's what you needed to push you over the edge to buy one. But I'm going to show you the ones I will personally be investing my money in and the ones that I do recommend. So this is Fantasy Labs. It's a fantasy site I use. It's very nice and laid out. That's why I'm using it for this video. So as I said before, Lamar Jackson not buying his, Mahomes not buying his, Russell Wilson I am, Dak I am, Drew, Josh Allen, Ben not buying his, Carson Wentz not buying his, but all these guys I'm mixing out again, guys. These are guys that I like. I'm just not buying. Stafford, not buying his, but I do think they're going to have an up year. Cam Newton, I've already bought a lot. Phillip Rivers, I'll buy a little bit. Carr, Garoppolo, Baker, Kirk, and Tyrod Taylor. So all those guys that I just call exited out are not guys that I'm telling you guys not to buy, okay? I want to make that clear. These are just guys that I'm personally not buying as of right now. 3 weeks in, that might change. Now on to running backs. If you're new to the card market, normally quarterbacks are what you want to attack when you're investing in sports cards, but recently that's changed a lot, so there are some good opportunities at other positions, but mainly, if you're new to this, I think quarterbacks are your safest bet. Zeke, I will be buying a little bit of him. Cook, I will not be buying, but I can't fault you if you are. Kamara, this one's interesting because of the whole thing with their team, but his props, if you look on Bovada, like I said, are actually pretty high, so I might buy a card of his. This Edwards is the guy that I told you about at the beginning of the video, the rookie, so be on the lookout for him. Eckler, another guy I'm not buying, but I think he could have a really good season. Jacobs, I am going to be buying, and James Conner from Pittsburgh, I think is another good buy, but I will not be buying him. Now, finally, the only wide receiver I'm going to be buying this year is Michael Thomas, just a little bit of him. So to sum all this up and make this as easy to comprehend as possible, I know this video has been a lot of information just thrown at you like crazy, but there are three, as you see, 1, 2, 3 levels of fire, as you want to say, to these cards. So I'm going to kind of, 1 meaning low confidence, 2 meaning medium confidence, and 3 meaning high confidence. Again, I want to stress, if I label something high confidence, that does not mean it is a guarantee that this card will increase in value. But I do think if you follow what I've shown here, apply your own research, you will have a very successful football season. And I truly believe that. And I'm here to help. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I love this shit. So if you are serious about investing in sports cards or Pokemon cards or anything, please hit me up. Now, Russell Wilson, he is a medium confidence play. Dak is a high confidence. Drew Brees is a high confidence. Josh Allen is, I'm going to put him at a 2, but he's more like a 1.5. Cam Newton is more like a 1.5. Phillip Rivers, he's a 1. Derek Carr, he's a 2, I guess, because of how low his cards are. Garoppolo, I'll put him there with Derek Carr. His cards are so low. And then Baker is a 3. So my 3 biggest cards this year will be Dak Prescott, Drew Brees, and Baker Mayfield. Those are my 3 top picks. Dak's are 1,200 roughly. Drew Brees are roughly 1,200. And Baker's are a little over 3. All right, guys, we're going to end the video here. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please hit the subscribe and like button below. Share it with your fantasy buddies. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you, whether you're new to getting into sports cards, Pokemon cards, or anything, feel free to comment below, and I will do my best to help you out. Again, be careful buying picks from touts out there telling you which cards to buy. This market is new. There are a lot of fresh faces in the market trying to make money any way they can. So, without further ado, it is 4:38, and you just got told what time it was.